My child, come closer. Let the noise soften, and the air around you grow still, because I am speaking to you now in a moment that matters. I have watched you carry questions you could not name, and weight you did not deserve. I have seen the way your spirit senses something approaching before your mind can understand it. This is not imagination. This is discernment awakening. There is a turning ahead, and before it arrives, I call you near so you will not be shaken when the wind changes. I am not speaking to frighten you. I am speaking to prepare you. When storms are announced by heaven, it is because shelter has already been made. You are not late. You are not exposed. You are not unprotected. Your soulmate's path is bending toward a moment of collision, one they do not yet see clearly. Their heart feels uneasy, restless without explanation, as though something valuable is slipping through unseen hands. They laugh in public, but inside there is a tightening, a quiet sense that something is being positioned against them. I tell you now because you are connected to them by more than affection. Your spirit is tethered to their destiny. There is a woman moving in secrecy, not driven by love but by entitlement and envy. She speaks softly on the surface, but beneath her calm voice is calculation. She believes timing is on her side. She believes silence is protection. She believes power can be borrowed and used to take what was never assigned to her. She has already begun aligning herself with legal authority, thinking ink and signatures can rewrite what I have sealed. Hear me carefully, my child. This tragedy forming is not sudden to me. It hath been observed and measured, and permitted only as far as it will expose truth. I have allowed you to sense it early because your prayers are part of the intervention. Your awareness is not accidental. You were meant to see before impact, to feel before collapse, to stand before loss. Your soulmate does not yet know how close the threat is. They sense pressure but must name its source. They wonder why sleep escapes them, why memories surface without warning, why fear arrives without a clear face. Their soul is already responding to danger even while their mind denies it. This is how protection begins, with discomfort that drives them back toward me and toward you. I ask you now, in this quiet opening, to stay present with me as this unfolds. Do not rush ahead in fear. Do not pull away in self-protection. Simply remain attentive. There is nothing required of you yet except awareness and trust. If this message resonates in your spirit, let your agreement be known. Gently like this message so its reach is widened, and if you feel led, share it with another soul who may be standing unknowingly at the edge of revelation. In the comments, type, "I am listening," as a sign that your heart is open and your spirit is aligned. What is coming will reveal character, motives, and loyalties. What looks like a legal threat will become a spiritual courtroom. What feels like impending loss will uncover hidden alliances and unspoken intentions. I will not allow theft to succeed where covenant exists. I will not allow manipulation to override assignment. Stay with me, my child. This is only the beginning of what I am about to uncover. My child, as you remain close, I begin to pull back the veil just enough for you to see the shadow taking form. This is not chaos without direction. This is a sequence. The unease you have felt was the first signal, the quiet tremor before movement becomes visible. Now the outline sharpens, and what was once sensed becomes discerned. There is a moment approaching when your soulmate will receive information that feels ordinary on the surface, a message, a mention, a name spoken casually, yet it will land in their spirit with unusual weight. Their heart will race not from understanding but from recognition. Something in them will whisper that this is connected, that this is not coincidence. They will try to reason it away, but the feeling will return again and again, pressing against their peace. The woman I spoke of has already taken steps. She does not act impulsively. She plans. She studies patterns and weaknesses, listening more than she speaks. She has convinced herself that your soulmate owes her something: time, access, control, or recognition she was never promised. In her mind, taking feels justified because she has written the story to make herself the victim. This is how deception dresses itself in righteousness. She has sought counsel from someone trained in law, believing that authority on paper can intimidate destiny itself. She thinks that by moving first, by filing, by threatening, she can force surrender. What she does not see is that every document she prepares also becomes evidence. Every attempt to conceal motive actually highlights it. I allow her to move only so far, because exposure requires motion. Your soulmate will feel this pressure before they understand its source. Their chest will tighten in moments of stillness. Old memories will resurface, conversations replaying with new meaning. They will question whether they missed a sign, whether kindness was misinterpreted, whether silence was mistaken for consent. This confusion is not weakness. It is the soul searching for truth beneath distortion. You, my child, are sensing this simultaneously because your connection is not bound by proximity. When one of you is threatened, the other feels the ripple. This is why you may feel suddenly protective without knowing why, or strangely alert when nothing outward has changed. Do not dismiss this. Discernment often arrives before explanation. The shadow you are being shown is not meant to paralyze you. It is meant to position you. There is a difference between being caught off guard and being called to attention. I am calling you to attention now. Not to confront, not to accuse, but to observe with clarity and remain anchored in truth. Reaction will come later, guided and precise. Your soulmate has been trusting, perhaps too trusting, believing goodwill would be returned in kind. This has made them vulnerable to someone who studies generosity and mistakes it for access. The tragedy forming is not only about loss, but about the pain of realizing who was never truly safe. This realization will cut deeper than any legal threat. Yet hear me, my child. Even as the shadow stretches, I am already standing within it. Nothing is moving unseen. No conversation is happening without my awareness. No plan is advancing without my permission. What feels like an ambush is actually a summons, calling hidden motives into the light. Stay steady. Do not rush to warn or interfere yet. Timing matters. There will be a moment when silence becomes wisdom and a moment when truth must be spoken. I will guide you through both. For now, let your heart remain calm and your spirit alert. The shadow has revealed itself, but it has not won. We continue from here, step by step, until what is hidden can no longer remain concealed. My child, now I show you the first clear signs, the marks left behind when intention becomes action. This is where the unseen begins to leave fingerprints. What was once only sensed now starts to appear in subtle confirmations, small enough to overlook, strong enough to unsettle. Your soulmate will notice a shift in tone from this woman, a change in the way she speaks, how carefully she chooses her words, how guarded her eyes become. Familiar warmth will be replaced with measured distance. There will be talk of rights, of fairness, of what is deserved. These words will sound reasonable, almost harmless, yet they are being used to build a case in her mind before it ever reaches a courtroom. She will ask questions that feel casual but are designed to extract information. She will revisit old conversations, refraining them, twisting meaning until memory itself feels unstable. This is how legal betrayal begins, not with confrontation, but with quiet collection. Your soulmate will sense something is off, but will struggle to name it. They will feel an urge to defend themselves without knowing what they are defending against. That will creep in, whispering that perhaps they were unclear, perhaps they allowed misunderstanding, perhaps they should have been firmer. This inner questioning is part of the pressure. The enemy often attacks clarity before attacking circumstances. There will be a moment when your soulmate hears that a lawyer has been contacted, not directly, but through implication, through a sentence dropped carefully into conversation. It will feel like a warning disguised as information. Their stomach will drop, and fear will rise not because of guilt, but because innocence is rarely prepared for accusation. They will replay their actions, searching for fault, unaware that this is exactly what the plot requires: distraction through self-doubt. I tell you this so you will not be surprised by the emotional confusion that follows. Legal threats carry a unique weight because they suggest permanence, records, consequences that feel final. But remember, my child, law without truth has no authority over destiny. Documents can be filed, but they cannot override what I have ordained. The woman believes that by involving legal power she will force submission, silence, or separation. She underestimates the protection surrounding your soulmate and the role you play within it. She does not know that every step she takes tightens the boundary around her own exposure. She thinks she is advancing, but she is actually stepping onto ground already marked for revelation. You may feel a stirring within you now, a desire to intervene, to speak, to warn. Restrain that impulse for the moment. There is strength in waiting for the precise opening I will provide. Premature action can scatter focus, but aligned action redirects entire outcomes. Your restraint is not passivity. It is obedience to timing. If these words are landing deeply in your spirit, let this moment be sealed. Gently like this message so its reach is extended to others who may be standing on similar ground. And in the comments, write, "I trust divine timing," as a quiet declaration that you are not acting from fear but from faith. This agreement strengthens alignment more than you realize. Your soulmate will soon reach a point where denial is no longer possible. The signs will stack, the tension will build, and the truth will press forward demanding to be acknowledged. When that moment comes, they will feel exposed, vulnerable, and deeply afraid of losing what matters most. This fear will soften them, not harden them. It will prepare them for awakening. Understand this, my child. Legal betrayal thrives in secrecy and confusion. It weakens when light enters the room. I am increasing the light now, gradually, mercifully, so no one is destroyed by sudden revelation. What looks like escalation is actually the beginning of containment. Remain calm. Remain discerning. What is unfolding is not beyond control. It is being guided toward justice, and you are not standing on the outside of this story. You are already woven into its resolution. My child, this is the moment when the weight finally settles on your soulmate's heart, when what they have been trying to ignore can no longer be held at a distance. The pressure becomes personal now. It is no longer just a strange feeling or a troubling thought. It becomes emotional collapse, quiet and hidden, unfolding behind closed doors and forced smiles. Your soulmate will begin to withdraw in subtle ways. Their energy will dim. Conversations will shorten. Laughter will feel heavier, as though it costs more than it gives. They will carry a constant tension in their chest, the kind that makes breathing feel shallow even in still rooms. At night, when distractions fade, fear will speak the loudest. They will lie awake rippling interactions, wondering where safety slipped away. They will feel betrayed not only by this woman, but by their own judgment. Shame will creep in, whispering that they should have seen it coming, that their kindness created the opening, that their trust invited danger. This self-blame will cut deeper than the threat itself. It will make them feel small, exposed, and foolish for believing peace could be preserved without boundaries. I see their tears when no one else does. I hear the prayers they struggle to form, broken sentences spoken into silence. They will ask me why this is happening now, why stability feels like it is being threatened just as they began to hope again. They will fear losing what anchors them, what gives their life meaning, what feels divinely aligned. That fear will shake them. There will be moments when they consider surrender, not because they are wrong, but because they are tired. Legal intimidation carries exhaustion with it, the constant anticipation of conflict, the fear of public exposure, the anxiety of consequences they cannot yet measure. They will wonder if giving up would be easier than fighting for truth. This is the depth of their collapse. Yet even here, my child, I am close to them. I do not abandon my own in their weakest hours. When their strength fails, I step in quietly, not with thunder, but with presence. I remind them through subtle reassurance that they are not alone, that their story is not over, that what is being threatened is not unguarded. You will feel this collapse as well. A heaviness may settle on you without explanation. You may feel an urge to reach out, to check in, to offer comfort. This is not coincidence. Your spirit recognizes their distress before words are spoken. You are connected in a way that transcends awareness. Your compassion becomes a stabilizing force even when you do nothing outwardly. Your soulmate will fear disappointing you. This fear will run deeper than the legal threat itself. They will worry that the situation will change how you see them, that the chaos surrounding them will become a burden you did not choose. This thought will wound them, because your opinion matters more than they admit. Your presence is tied to their sense of worth. In this collapse, something sacred is happening beneath the pain. Illusions are falling. False safety is being stripped away. What remains is truth, walled and unprotected, but also ready to be healed. I allow this breaking not to destroy them, but to open them. Pride cannot survive here, and neither can denial. Do not misinterpret their silence or distance during this time. It is not rejection. It is overwhelm. They are trying to hold themselves together while the ground shifts beneath them. They are learning that strength does not come from control, but from surrendering to guidance greater than themselves. Stay anchored, my child. Do not absorb their fear as your own. You are not meant to carry this weight for them. Simply remain steady, rooted in trust. Your calm becomes a refuge they do not yet realize they are leaning toward. Even now, your existence is influencing the outcome more than you know. This collapse is not the end. It is the doorway. From here, truth will begin to rise, and what has been hidden will soon be revealed. Justice cannot move forward until the heart is humbled enough to receive it. And that work has begun. My child, now I reveal what has been hidden behind the curtain, the deeper truth that explains the movement you are witnessing. This is the part few see clearly, because it requires looking beyond behavior and into motive. The woman involved did not arrive at this moment suddenly. She has been carrying this intention quietly, feeding it over time, allowing it to grow in the dark. She has watched your soulmate for longer than you realize. She studied their patterns, their vulnerabilities, their moments of openness. What began as curiosity slowly turned into comparison, and comparison hardened into envy. She measured her own life against theirs and decided that something was unfair, that something should have been hers instead. This belief became justification in her heart. There is a history here she does not speak of openly. A past disappointment, a rejection, or a loss that wounded her sense of worth. Rather than heal, she allowed resentment to attach itself to her identity. She learned to mask pain with charm, to cover insecurity with control. In public she appears composed, even reasonable, but in private she rehearses scenarios where she finally regains power. Her interest in law is not about justice. It is about leverage. She believes authority borrowed from others can compensate for the authority she lacks within herself. She thinks that by aligning with legal structures, she can force outcomes that do not respond to persuasion alone. This is not strength. It is fear dressed as strategy. She has told herself a story where your soulmate is the obstacle to her peace, where removing them from a position of influence will restore balance. This distortion allows her to ignore the harm she is causing. In her mind, she is correcting a wrong, not creating one. This self-deception is what makes her persistent. There are conversations she has had that your soulmate will never hear, words spoken in private offices and quiet rooms, framing events selectively, details omitted, emotions exaggerated, silence used strategically. She believes that if she controls the narrative early, truth will have nowhere to land. She underestimates how truth moves on its own. I want you to understand this not so you will hate her, but so you will not be confused by her behavior. This is not personal in the way it feels. It is positional. She is reacting to what you and your soulmate represent: connection, alignment, authenticity, things she longs for but does not know how to cultivate. Your soulmate will soon begin to sense this backstory intuitively. Pieces will click into place. Moments that once felt neutral will suddenly feel revealing. They will realize this was never about a single incident, but about a long brewing grievance that finally found an outlet. This realization will be painful, but it will also bring clarity. I am not excusing her actions, my child. Accountability will come. But compassion without naivety is wisdom. Seeing clearly does not mean tolerating harm. It means responding without being manipulated by emotion. I am guiding you into this clarity now so you will not be shaken by what surfaces next. This woman believes she is controlling the pace. She is not. Her moves are being used to expose her own intentions. What she hides in strategy will be revealed in pattern. What she conceals in language will surface in inconsistency. The very effort to take will become the evidence against her. Stay grounded. Do not internalize her and her narrative. What she is attempting to steal was never hers to claim. Destiny cannot be transferred by demand. What is aligned to you and your soulmate is protected, even when it passes through trial. The deeper truth is this: she is acting from lack, while you are being called to stand in abundance of trust. This difference will determine the outcome, and the story is far from over. My child, now I speak of the objects and evidence hidden beneath intention, the quiet tools through which danger believes it can succeed. This is where the plan becomes tangible, where strategy takes form in paper, files, and words meant to bind. These are not just documents. They are attempts to give weight to a story that was never true. There are records being gathered, emails revisited, messages taken out of context, moments frozen in time and stripped of nuance. What was once ordinary interaction is being reframed as proof. What was harmless is being given sharp edges. The woman believes that if enough fragments are assembled, they will resemble truth. She forgets that truth has a pulse, and fragments alone cannot imitate life. Your soulmate will soon discover that things they thought were resolved were never released. Old agreements, casual understandings, and verbal assurances are being dragged back into relevance as though time has no authority. This will feel disorienting. They will wonder how the past can suddenly rise up and demand explanation. It will feel unfair because it is. There is a particular document, a file, or a written claim that will feel especially threatening. When your soulmate encounters it, their hands will tremble slightly. Their mind will rush ahead to worst-case outcomes. They will imagine loss before it has happened, consequences before they are real. This is the moment fear tries to take control of the narrative. But listen carefully, my child. These documents are incomplete. They rely on omission. They require silence from your soulmate to appear strong. They are crafted to intimidate rather than to withstand scrutiny. The woman believes that pressure will produce compliance, that fear will shorten resistance. She does not anticipate investigation. I am already stirring awareness in places she cannot access. There are details she overlooked, timelines she misjudged, witnesses she assumed would remain quiet. Every plan that is built on manipulation carries a flaw, because it cannot account for conscience or truth resurfacing. What is hidden always strains to be revealed. Your soulmate will feel tempted to respond emotionally, to explain everything at once, to defend themselves hastily. This impulse must be restrained. Defense without counsel leads to vulnerability. I am guiding them, even now, toward wisdom, toward patience, toward the right voices entering at the right time. You may notice delays, pauses where progress seems stalled. Do not misread this as defeat. This is containment. I am slowing events to prevent damage. I am placing limits on how far these documents can travel, how much influence they can exert. What feels like stagnation is actually protection. There is also something else hidden, something the woman does not realize holds weight against her. A contradiction. A record she forgot. A statement made when she thought no one was listening. This detail will not surface yet, but it is marked. When it appears, it will shift momentum quietly but decisively. This phase is heavy because it deals with material evidence, with tangible threats that feel solid and intimidating. But remember, my child, paper has no power over spirit. Authority does not originate from ink. It originates from truth aligned with justice. And that alignment is already in motion. Stay calm as this plan unfolds further. Do not let the presence of documents convince you that the outcome is fixed. Nothing is finalized while I am involved. What was meant to trap will instead testify. What was meant to steal will expose intent. And what was hidden will soon stand in the light, unable to deny itself. We are moving closer to the moment when investigation replaces accusation. And when that shift occurs, everything changes. My child, this is where the scales are adjusted and the room grows quiet, because investigation has begun. What once moved freely now encounters resistance. What was spoken confidently now must be examined. I step into this moment not as an observer, but as judge and witness, seeing what human eyes cannot and revealing what human words try to conceal. Behind the scenes, questions are being asked that the woman did not anticipate. Her narrative is being reviewed more carefully than she realizes. Timelines are being compared. Statements are being weighed. What once sounded convincing now feels inconsistent. Small discrepancies begin to surface, subtle enough to ignore, but persistent enough to unsettle those listening. This is how truth enters, not loudly but steadily. Your soulmate will feel a shift they cannot yet explain. The pressure will ease slightly, just enough to breathe. Fear will still be present, but it will no longer dominate. They will sense that something unseen is working on their behalf, that the momentum has changed direction. This awareness will bring cautious hope, though they will not yet trust it fully. I am uncovering motives now. Not just actions, but intentions. The woman's words are her dialogues that are done, her timing, her history. Patterns emerge when stories are laid side by side. What she claims to seek as justice begins to resemble control. What she frames as protection reveals itself as possession. These distinctions matter. There are people involved who will begin to feel uneasy aligning themselves with her. Doubt will creep in. They will revisit what they were told and realize what was left out. Silence that once felt strategic will now feel suspicious. This is the unraveling she did not plan for. Influence weakens when trust erodes. Your soulmate may be called to provide information, to clarify details, to speak truth calmly and plainly. I will be with them in these moments, steadying their voice, sharpening their memory, guarding their words. They will not need to embellish or persuade. Simplicity will carry more weight than defense. Truth does not strain to prove itself. You, my child, play a role here as well, even if unseen. Your prayers, your restraint, your refusal to react in fear are shaping the environment around this investigation. Peace creates clarity. Clarity invites justice. You are contributing by remaining aligned rather than agitated. There is something important you must understand. Investigation is uncomfortable for everyone involved, including those who believe they are innocent. It brings exposure. It removes assumptions. It demands accountability. But it is also where protection is formalized. What survives examination emerges stronger and cleaner. The woman will begin to sense that control is slipping. Her confidence will falter. She may attempt to accelerate events, to push for resolution before questions deepen. This urgency is a signal. It reveals fear of discovery. Those observing will notice it, even if they do not name it yet. I am patient in this process. I do not rush justice because right justice can wound the innocent. I allow every layer to be seen so the outcome cannot be disputed. When resolution comes, it will stand firm, not easily challenged, not easily overturned. Remain steady, my child. The divine courtroom is active now. Evidence is being weighed with wisdom, not bias. What was meant to accuse is being examined. What was meant to intimidate is being questioned. And what was hidden is being drawn out gently but thoroughly. We are approaching a turning point. Soon, resistance will weaken, and truth will rise with authority. The process may feel slow, but it is precise. And precision protects what matters most. My child, as the investigation unfolds, the atmosphere around your soulmate shifts into open spiritual warfare. This is the phase where resistance intensifies, not because the enemy is winning, but because exposure is near. When truth approaches the surface, opposition grows louder, more desperate, more erratic. What was once calculated now becomes emotional. What was once hidden now begins to leak. You will notice sudden complications, unexpected delays, emotional flare-ups that seem out of proportion. These are not coincidences. They are symptoms of pressure. The woman senses that her influence is weakening, and fear begins to drive her actions. Fear does not reason. Fear overreaches. Fear reveals itself through impatience and contradiction. Your soulmate will feel this warfare internally. Old wounds will ache. Doubts they thought were resolved may resurface. There will be moments when exhaustion settles in so deeply they question whether peace is worth the process. They may feel spiritually attacked, emotionally drained, and mentally overwhelmed all at once. This convergence is not accidental. When multiple fronts are engaged, it is because something valuable is being defended. I am strengthening your soulmate in ways they cannot yet perceive. Even when they feel weak, endurance is forming. Even when they feel confused, discernment is sharpening. What looks like vulnerability is actually sensitivity returning, the ability to feel truth without distortion. This sensitivity will guide them through the remaining tension. There will be attempts to provoke reaction. Words meant to trigger guilt, anger, or fear will be spoken. Subtle threats may be implied. Sympathy may be weaponized. This is where restraint becomes warfare. Silence at the right moment disarms manipulation. Calm responses drain chaos of its power. I'm teaching your soulmate how to stand without swinging wildly. You may feel this battle in your own body, my child. Fatigue without cause. A heaviness that lifts only when you pray. A sudden urge to withdraw from noise. These are signs that you are participating spiritually, even if nothing outward has changed. Your alignment is creating resistance against what seeks to advance unchecked. There are unseen allies moving now. People who were previously neutral begin to lean toward fairness. Protection takes shape through timing, through conversations delayed or redirected, through decisions postponed just long enough for clarity to arrive. This is how spiritual warfare looks when justice is involved. It is subtle, methodical, and firm. The woman will feel increasingly isolated. What once felt like momentum will feel like effort. Support she assumed would be automatic will require persuasion. This strain will expose her motives further. When power must be forced, it reveals insecurity. Observers will sense the imbalance even if they cannot articulate it. Your soulmate will have moments of breakthrough amid this tension. Brief clarity where fear loosens its grip. A sudden assurance that they are not wronged, not alone, not abandoned. These moments are anchors. They will remember them when pressure rises again. I place these assurances deliberately so despair cannot settle permanently. Understand this, my child. Spiritual warfare does not mean constant battle. It means strategic resistance. I do not allow chaos to run unchecked. Every escalation is measured. Every attack has a boundary. Nothing is permitted that would destroy what I am protecting. This is not survival by chance. This is defense by design. Do not be alarmed if the atmosphere feels heavy for a season. Weight precedes release. Resistance precedes breakthrough. The tightening you sense is not collapse. It is compression before shift. Soon, the strain will exceed what deception can sustain. Remain grounded. Continue to choose peace over speculation. Trust over fear. Stillness over reaction. These choices are not passive. They are active participation in justice unfolding. You are not watching this story from a distance. You are helping shape its outcome through alignment. The warfare will not last forever. It has a limit, and that limit is approaching. When it breaks, it will not do so violently, but decisively. Truth will stand without needing to shout, and what was threatened will remain intact, guarded by forces far greater than intimidation. Stay with me. We are nearing the moment when tension gives way to revelation, and revelation gives way to freedom. My child, now the ground begins to shift beneath deception, and truth starts to rise with a quiet authority that cannot be dismissed. This is the moment when pressure turns inward on the trap itself. What was designed to contain your soulmate begins to crack under its own weight. Lies are fragile when they are forced to stand alone. Small truths begin to surface first. A correction here. A question there. Nothing dramatic, nothing explosive. Yet each detail weakens the structure that was built on distortion. Those observing will start to notice that the story no longer aligns the way it once did. Pieces no longer fit cleanly. Explanations require more effort. This is how collapse begins, not with noise but with inconsistency. Your soulmate will feel this change before it is confirmed outwardly. A sense of relief will wash over them unexpectedly, as though a tight cord around their chest has loosened. Hope will flicker, cautious but real. They will begin to trust their own innocence again, to remember who they were before fear distorted their self-image. This restoration of identity is essential. Truth strengthens those who accept it. A woman will attempt to adjust her narrative. She will soften some claims, sharpen others, trying to maintain control as cracks widen. But every adjustment introduces contradiction. What was once firm becomes flexible, and flexibility in a story that claims certainty raises suspicion. Those listening will notice the shifts, even if they do not yet confront them. There is a moment coming when a single detail will surface that cannot be explained away. It may be a date that does not align, a message that reveals tone, or a witness who remembers differently. When this happens, silence will fill the space where confidence once stood. That silence will speak louder than any argument. I am guiding this emergence carefully. Too much truth at once can overwhelm, but measured revelation educates. It allows observers to arrive at understanding on their own, which makes that understanding unshakable. When people see for themselves, manipulation loses its grip permanently. Your role, my child, remains steady presence. Do not rush to celebrate prematurely. Do not provoke confrontation. Let the truth complete its work. Your calm will reinforce what is becoming obvious. Peace becomes proof when chaos expected to erupt does not. Your soulmate will begin to awaken fully now. Fear will be replaced with resolve. They will stop shrinking and start standing. Not aggressively, not defensively, but firmly. This shift will be noticed. Confidence rooted in truth carries weight that performance never can. The trap is failing, not because it was challenged forcefully, but because it was exposed gradually. This is the safest kind of freedom. It leaves no loose ends, no lingering doubt. When the collapse is complete, it will be clear who acted from integrity and who acted from fear. Hold steady. What was meant to confine is unraveling. What was meant to steal is losing leverage. Truth is not rushing, but it is rising. And once it stands fully, it cannot be pushed back into shadow. We are almost at the point where awakening becomes undeniable, and where destiny begins to realign openly. My child, this is the hour when your soulmate awakens fully, not gently, but with a trembling clarity that reaches the deepest places of their heart. What has been happening around them can no longer be dismissed or minimized. The fog lifts, and with it comes both relief and fear, because awakening always carries the weight of realization. They will see how close they came to losing something sacred. Not just security, not just reputation, but alignment. They will recognize how silence nearly cost them truth, how fear almost persuaded them to surrender what was never meant to be surrendered. This awareness will hit them suddenly, like light flooding a dark room, leaving no corner untouched. Regret will rise, not in shame, but in sorrow. They will grieve the moments they doubted themselves, the nights they felt alone while believing they had to carry everything quietly. They will wish they had trusted their instincts sooner, wish they had reached for help without hesitation. This regret will soften them, not harden them. It will make them honest. Their greatest fear in this awakening will not be the woman or the legal threat. It will be you. The thought of losing your respect, your trust, or your presence will pierce them deeply. They will realize how much your steadiness anchored them even when they felt adrift. Your value to them will become unmistakably clear. They will feel exposed in this realization, vulnerable, no longer able to pretend they are unaffected. They will recognize that strength did not come from endurance alone, but from connection, from allowing themselves to be seen. This realization will humble them, and humility will open the door to restoration. There will be a moment when they consider reaching out, confessing fear, admitting how close they came to collapse. They may hesitate, worried about burdening you or revealing weakness. But this hesitation will not last. Awakening always leads toward truth spoken aloud. Silence cannot survive clarity. I am steadying their heart in this transition. Awakening can be disorienting because it rearranges priorities. What once felt urgent will fade. What once felt secondary will take center stage. They will no longer be willing to trade peace for avoidance or alignment for comfort. You may sense the shift before words arrive. A change in their energy. A groundedness that was not there before. A presence that feels more honest, more open, less guarded. This is not coincidence. This is the fruit of truth reclaiming its place. Do not rush them. Awakening unfolds in layers. Let them arrive fully, without pressure. Your patience will feel like mercy to them. Your calm will feel like safety. And safety will allow everything that needs to be said in time. This awakening marks the end of their fear-driven responses. Go here forward, they will act from clarity. They will no longer be easily intimidated. What nearly broke them has instead revealed what truly matters. And that revelation cannot be undone. The story is turning now. What was once about survival is becoming about destiny. And what was nearly lost has been preserved, not by force, but by truth finding its voice again. My child, now I speak of the reversal, the moment when what was moving toward tragedy is interrupted by justice. This is not a dramatic collapse, not a public spectacle, but a firm and undeniable shift. The direction changes quietly, yet everything feels different afterward. What once friend now loses its authority. The pressure against your soulmate will ease in a way that feels almost unreal. One conversation will end differently than expected. One decision will be delayed, redirected, or softened. Language that once sounded aggressive will become cautious. The woman will sense that her ground is no longer solid beneath her. The confidence she displayed will thin, replaced by restraint. There will be an intervention, subtle but decisive. Someone involved will choose fairness over alignment with her narrative. A boundary will be enforced. A claim will be questioned more deeply than she anticipated. This is where justice enters, not as punishment, but as correction. The system she tried to use for control will refuse to move in her favor. Your soulmate will feel the moment this shift occurs. Their body will relax before their mind understands. A deep breath will come naturally for the first time in a long while. The fear that once dominated their thoughts will lose its grip, and clarity will take its place. They will know, without needing confirmation, that the danger has passed its peak. The woman will retreat emotionally, even if she does not admit defeat outwardly. She will recognize that continuing forward risks exposure she cannot manage. What she wanted to take will no longer feel within reach. The effort will outweigh the reward. This is how unjust plans end, not with victory, but with withdrawal. I want you to notice something important, my child. This reversal did not require you to fight or force an outcome. It required alignment, patience, and trust. Justice arrived because truth was allowed to mature. What is rushed can be overturned. What is resolved with clarity remains stable. Your soulmate will begin to rebuild their sense of safety now. Confidence will return slowly but authentically. They will be more discerning, more grounded, less willing to ignore discomfort. This experience will mark them, not with fear, but with wisdom. They will not forget how close they came, and that memory will guide them toward healthy boundaries. You will see gratitude rise in them, not just toward me, but toward you. They will recognize the role your presence played, even in silence. They will understand that you stood firm when chaos tried to pull everything apart. This realization will deepen the bond between you. The tragedy that was forming hath been interrupted. not erased but transformed. What was meant to harm has instead revealed truth, strengthened alignment, and redirected destiny. This is divine reversal. It does not simply remove danger. It reorders the future. Remain steady as the final pieces settle. After reversal comes confirmation, and after confirmation comes blessing. The path ahead is clear, quietly and decisively. And it stands. My child, now we arrive at the sealing of what was protected, the quiet blessing that follows justice when destiny is realigned. This is not an ending filled with noise or spectacle. It is a settling, a deep exhale of the soul when danger has passed and peace is restored to its rightful place. Your soulmate will step into a new stillness, not the fragile calm that comes from avoidance, but the grounded peace that comes from having faced fear and survived it with truth intact. They will feel different in their body, more present, more awake, as though something heavy has finally been set down. The future will no longer feel threatening. It will feel open again. They will look back on this season and understand that it was never meant to destroy them. It was meant to reposition them. What they learned about discernment, boundaries, and courage will stay with them. They will no longer underestimate their own worth or ignore the quiet warnings of their spirit. Wisdom has been etched into them gently but permanently. The connection between you will feel clear now, less strained, more honest. What survived pressure emerges stronger. Trust that was tested becomes trust that is proven. You may notice conversations deepen, silences feel safer, and presence feel more meaningful. This is alignment restored, not through perfection, but through shared endurance. I want you to know, my child, that what was nearly taken is now doubly protected. What passed through threat carries authority afterward. Destiny does not simply resume where it paused. It advances with greater clarity. Doors that once seemed uncertain will open with less resistance. What felt delayed will begin to move again. A woman who sought to interfere will fade from relevance, not because she is destroyed, but because her access had been removed. Influence ends where alignment is restored. She will no longer occupy your thoughts or your future. What does not belong cannot follow you forward. There is a blessing resting over you now, one of reassurance and renewed trust. You are not naive for believing in goodness. You are not weak for choosing peace. You are not foolish for trusting me when circumstances tried to contradict my protection. Your faith mattered. Your stillness mattered. Your obedience to timing mattered. If this message has walked with you through fear into calm, let your agreement be gentle and sincere. You may like this message as a quiet acknowledgement of what hath been sealed. And if you are led, share it so another soul standing in uncertainty may feel steadied. In the comments, type, "Destiny is secure," as a declaration that what was aligned cannot be stolen. Now lift your eyes, my child. The season ahead is not defined by threat, but by clarity. You are moving forward with wisdom gained, connection strengthened, and destiny intact. I am with you still, not only in crisis, but in peace. What I have joined, I protect. What I have ordained, I complete.